Hello dear students, welcome to the class of Health and Physical Education, Unit 5, Yoga. And today's topic which we are going to learn, that is Introduction to Asana, Pranayam, Dhyan and Yogic Kriya. Now in the last session we have learned related to the elements of yoga. That was, we have learned related to Ashtanga Yoga. 8 elements were being given like Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan and Samadhi. And today we are going to just learn the introduction of Asan, Pranayam, Dhyan and Yogic Kriyas. Already these all terms have already been repeated, which we have learned previously. In 8 elements also, and in importance we have already learned. So just we have to let's have a brief idea. Now asana. So meaning of asanas are being given. Asana is the different pose of the body which was developed centuries ago to develop the muscles, nucleus and the bone of the body. According to the Maharshi Patanjali, Sthir Sukham Asanam, meaning a person is sitting in a comfortable, meaning is a person sitting in a comfortable position. Sthiram Sukham Asanam. Sthiram Sukham Asanam is sitting in a comfortable position for a longer time period, steady position. But according to the Brahma Upanishad, it has been given to sit in a comfortable position or a posture for an everlasting period is called as an asana. So meaning a person is sitting in a comfortable position. In other words, it is the stage of the body wherein the body can kept comfortably for a longer time period. So it is a position or it is a posture in which the body of the body wherein the body can be kept comfortably for a longer time period. That means that when a person is sitting in a same posture, and that also for a longer time period, that becomes an asana. But it should be in a comfortable position. If he or she might feel uncomfortable while maintaining a particular posture, then it is not been considered as an asana. So in asana, a body is being kept in a different position so that it is different, or so that its different organs may function better and more efficiently. This in turn makes the body and mind healthy. In Mandal Brahma Upanishad, the pose to sit with a comfortable till the infinity is called as an asana. So according to the Brahma Upanishad, it has been given to sit in a comfortable position for a longer time period, it becomes an asana. Now we are going to learn the classification of asanas. The asanas are being classified into 3 parts, that is meditative asana, relaxative asana and corrective asanas. So what are the meditative asana? Meditative asana in which you are going to meditate, you are going to sit comfortably and meditate for a longer time period. So we are having different asanas like Padmasana, Siddhasana and Samasana are its example, are the meditative pose. These asanas are practiced to enhance the man's meditative power. So meditative asana is being helpful in enhancing the meditative power. When man sits in a meditation, these asanas should be practiced in a peaceful environment. So the practice of these asanas should be done before performing the meditation. In fact, the meditation is being done by the remaining constant in this asana, and it is more beneficial to perform this asana in a complete peaceful environment. So it is very much essential that these asanas are being performed in a peaceful environment. So you can see that the names are being given like Padmasana, Siddhasana, Swastikasana, Samasana, Virasana and Gomukhasana. These are being considered as a meditative asana. Then second asana type classification is being given, that is relaxative asanas. So by practicing these asanas, one gets rid of the fatigue and relaxes an individual physically and mentally, so that one gets full rest. So here, in order to keep away the fatigue, get rid of the fatigue and relaxes the individual physically and mentally. So these asanas, these asanas are considered as Shashankasana, Savasana, Makarasana, Savasana. These are the asanas, are the examples of the relaxative asana. You need to remind these all names. Then third type of the asana is been considered as corrective asana. So meditative, when the person is want to improve the concentration, they are performing the meditative asana. When they want to relax their body, that asanas are being performed so that they can keep away the fatigue and relaxes their body physically and mentally. That are considered relaxative asanas, and corrective asanas are those asanas which used to improve the postures. So the main example of these kind of asanas are like Sirsasana, Sarvangasana, Matsyasana, Halasana, Bhujangasana, Dhanurasana, Chakrasana, Paschimottanasana, Mayurasana, Gaumukhasana. So these are the names of the corrective asanas. These asanas are practiced for physical development and also for the efficient working of all activities of the body. So why these asanas are being performed for the all activities of body? It helps to regulate and systemize the different activities of the body and finally provide the energy to the body to perform the pranayam, pratyahar and dharana. So before this we need to perform these corrective asanas. So I hope so that these classifications are clear. The asanas are being classified into three parts, that is meditative asana, relaxative asana and corrective asana or cultural asana. It is also corrective is also known as an cultural asanas. So you can see there are different types of cultural asanas. The first one is been it has been given. I have first one is a meditative asana. Then second one is savasana. This has been considered a relaxative asana. And this posture you can see here. These are the types of different types of asana which are been helpful for the systematic, and these asanas helps us in development of the body. There are the different types of asanas. These are asanas are considered corrective asana. Moving towards the pranayam. The word pranayam is consist of the two words, that is pran and ayam. Pran means vital energy or the life force, and ayam means to control. We are going to control the air force, the life force activity, the air which used to take the air that is being considered oxygen. The oxygen force we are going to control that. So pranayam is the science of the respiratory system. Pranayam is being made up of two words, pran and ayam. Pran means oxygen, that is breath that gives the life, and ayam is inhaling or inhaling, exhaling and retaining. Retaining means to hold. Retaining means to hold. In other words, keeping control over your breath is considered as an pranayam. To keep control over your breath is considered pranayam. So pranayam means controlling the breathing process. It includes three activity: purak, that is inhalation; rechak, exhalation; kumbhak, retaining of the breath or holding of the breath. But kumbhak are of two types, that is anant kumbhak and bahya kumbhak. Antra kumbhak, that is known as antra kumbhak, ANTARA, or it is an anant kumbhak, that is internal kumbhak, and bahya kumbhak. Internal kumbhak means when you inhale and when you hold the breath and you don't let your breath come out, that is known as an internal kumbhak or antar kumbhak. Bahya kumbhak means when you exhale and then afterwards you hold for a seconds and you do not let the breathe in, that becomes an bahya kumbhak. So holding the breath, so purak, I hope so, purak means to fill, that is inhale; rechak means to take out, that is exhale; kumbhak means to hold, to fill. Retention of the breath is known as an kumbhak, and there are the two types of kumbhaks. So pranayam means to control the regulation of the pran. So mostly we used to control the pran. Pran means the energy, the vital force, the vital energy or the life force or the air which we used to take or breathe in. Then we are having the benefits of the pranayam. So there are the different types of pranayams have been mentioned here. Actually there are Anulom Vilom pranayam. Kapalbhati is a kriya. Actually Kapalbhati has been considered a kriya. So Anulom Vilom pranayam, Shitkari, Bhastrika pranayam, Ujjayi pranayam, Shitali pranayam, Brahmari pranayam and Morcha pranayam. Now what are the benefits of this pranayam? When you are having this exercise, a breathing exercise, what are the benefits of this? It helps in keeping the mind calm. It keeps our mind calm. It helps in the developing the concentration power and providing process. It helps in reducing the desires. helps in strengthening the breathing system, our lungs efficiency system, our cardiorespiratory system increases, and it helps in development of the cardiorespiratory system. It prevents from many of the diseases. It helps to keep away many of the diseases. Then it prevents the obesity. The person will not be obese if they are practicing this pranayam. Then increases the self confidence level of an individual, then provides the strength to fight the disease. It also provides the strength so that it helps us in the prevention of the many of the diseases. So these are the benefits of pranayam. Then we are having the types of pranayam. So as I was discussing, the pranayam is an important treasure. It is important in the life to keep practice pranayam for a healthy life. Pranayam contains the life. If there is no life in the body, then it becomes like the car without a driver, whether the car cost millions or billions. The pranayam is must for a man to keep his breathing system intact or active. It is a kind, its kinds are also as follows. So this pranayam is very much important. It is like a treasure. It is very important in a life of an individual or every person. So it is to be must to keep practicing pranayam for the healthy life, because pranayam, as we have seen the benefits of the pranayam, there are the many benefits of pranayam. If there is no life in the body, if, for example, if there is no pran, that means the pran force, the force is being considered as the oxygen, the intake of the oxygen. If there is no pran, then you can see that it is of no use. The body, then it becomes like a car without a driver, whether the car costs millions or billions. So pranayam must for a man to keep his breathing system intact or active. So every person should perform the pranayam. So different types of pranayam are there. Surya Bhedi, Chandra Bhedi. We are having Chandra Bhedi, Surya Bhedi pranayam, Nadi Shodhan pranayam, Bhastrika pranayam, Agnisar pranayam, Kapalbhati, Brahmari pranayam. So these are the types of pranayam. So I hope so the pranayam part is clear. Then next we are having, that is meditation. It is known as in dhyan. So dhyan is a stage before samadhi. Meditation has been called as in dhyan in yoga. It is the stability of the mind. According to the Patanjali, concentration of the mind on an impulse without any divergence is called as in dhyan. So dhyan is a prior stage of the samadhi. The concentration, that is known as in chitta or mind, of an impulse without any divergence is called as in dhyan. So the concentration and the process of thinking on any of the subject or object is called as in dhyan. So concentrate on a particular subject or an object is being considered in dhyan. For example, if you are watching any of the point for a longer time period, then it is been considered as in dhyan. When the perception start directly is called as in real dhyan avastha. Perception start, we are having focus only on that particular point. We are not thinking that what is going on around us. Just we are having full focus or full concentration on that particular point. That is being considered dhyan avastha. So concentration on a particular thing for a longer time is called as in dhyan. When one feels in reality, it is dhyan. As we see a thing before our eye clearly, similarly that very thing appears before us clearly when our eyes are closed. For example, if we used to watch and then afterwards we have for example, we are concentrating or we are focusing on any of the object or one of the point, then afterward when we used to close our eyes, that object used to appear in our mind. We can see it very clearly when our eyes are closed. So when we see it in our inner eyes, this stage is called as in dhyan. It is not an exercise, but it is a stage which is a must to achieve anything in life. So this is very much important that the person must practice the dhyan. The way in which we can see the object directly in front of our eyes, in the same way, if we are able to clarify the subtle perception of the mind in front of our internal eyes. So when an individual attains the such concentration, it has been converted to the stage of dhyan. I hope so that meditation is clear. Now let's see the benefits. Okay, without concentration, we can't achieve any of the material or spiritual aim. There are the thousands of the thoughts in our mind. By practicing dhyan, we can control our mind. Mind becomes zero, as like an infant who don't know anything about the world. No tension, a calm mind gives strength and keeps us away from the disease. So a calm mind helps us in keeping away many of the disease. It gives the strength to the mind also. Now, what are the benefits of meditation? Meditation, it gives peace to the mind or heart. It increases the concentration power. It increases the mental power and control the power of distracting our mind. And you can see that the person or an individual, they will not be distracted more if they are practicing meditation. It increases our trust and we are able to understand one another. It enhances the self knowledge. The self knowledge also increases because the person used to become aware when they are in the dhyana avastha or when they are in a meditative posture. They are more aware about self. So they are also aware about the self knowledge. It enhances the physical, mental, and spiritual health. So all type of health like physical, mental, and spiritual health also increases due to the meditation. So these are the benefits of meditation. Then the fourth we are having, that is Shatkarms, or it is known as the yogic kriyas. Now the man's body is like a machine. As we know that we used to cleanse in our body, we used to purify our body by cleaning the dust and dirt, by taking bath, by brushing our teeth, by rubbing with the handkerchief or towel. We can clean our body. But what about the internal cleaning? So we used to purify the internal organs also. So the man's body is like a machine. As a machine need to be maintained regularly from inside and outside for a smooth functioning. Similarly, the human body also needs to be kept clean daily for its smooth working. However, we keep our body clean outwardly but don't pay any attention to the inner cleanliness. Externally, we used to clean our body, but what about the internal cleanliness? So the internal cleanliness has been done with the help of the Shatkarms or yogic kriyas. So apart from the asanas and pranayam, for the purification of the different body system, some exercises are being done in the yoga, which are being called as Shatkarma exercises, or Shatkarma means 6 action or exercises. Our internal cleansing is done through these 6 exercises. They are helpful in cleaning or cleansing our body internally. So you can see the Shatkarmas from the picture. You can see there are 6 techniques. Neti Kriya, that is known as Jal Neti. Dhoti Kriya, Noli Kriya. Noli means rotation of this stomach. Then afterwards you can Basti Kriya, where you can find out that the water is being from the colon part, the water is being filled. Then afterward it is been our intestine towards a large intestine, and then afterward it is been cleared. Then Kapalbhati, and then we are having Tratak. These are the Shatkarms. Now there are the following Shatkarms or Shuddhi Kriyas like Neti, Dhoti, Basti, Noli, Tratak, and Kapalbhati. So you can see Neti Kriya. So Vaman Dhoti. You can see there in the first one, the person used to drink the water, and then after they used to take out the water. Then second picture, Kapalbhati, here it has been shown that they are having a standing position, then they are having Kapalbhati, and where the Noli Kriya is also been possible with the help of this. Then Sutra Neti, you can see this is a Sutra Neti where they are having a rubber tube, very thin rubber tube that has been taken, put into the nostril, one of the nostril, and it is taken out from the mouth, and this is the considered then Sutra Neti. Then here it has been considered Jal Neti with the help of the mug where it is having a nozzle, and that one of the nozzle is been put on the one of the side of the nostril, and from the another side of the nostril the water used to come out. So that has been considered Jal Neti. Then Vastra Dhoti, we are having a cloth, and that is like a ribbon, long ribbon, and it is to be put into the mouth. It is to be swallowed, and then afterward it is to be taken out. So whatever the internal that is the cuff, whatever is been there, it has been taken out with the help of this Vastra Dhoti. Then Dand Dhoti or Vaman Dhoti. Vastra Dhoti, then we are having Dand Dhoti or Vaman Dhoti. Drinking the water, and then afterwards it has been taken out. You can see this Noli Kriya, sticking the stomach inside, and then afterwards to rotate. Basti Kriya, it's like an enema. it is given, then afterwards through the colon, and then afterwards cleansing of the large intestine. Then Tratak, to focus on one of the point, either you lit a candle and you focus on the light of the candle until you get tears from your eyes, that is been considered Tratak. So these are the types of Shuddhi Kriyas through which you can cleanse in your internal body part. So I hope so that these all are introduction towards this asanas, pranayam, kriyas and meditation or dhyan is clear. You can prepare the notes. I hope so this is clear. With the help of the picture it is very easy. You can zoom the picture and you can see, and you can also search from the net where you are having any of the doubt, and if you are having any more doubt you can comment, you can ask. So for today this much from my side. Thank you.